Lucas Di Grassi, can you just tell us what happened during that crash in qualifying?
I had a very good first lap, which put me 5th on the grid, but I felt that in the second lap I could really fight for pole, so I was really pushing hard, taking the car to the limit, and I lost the rear in that corner and end up touching the wall. But at the moment everything is under control. The car, the mechanics has done a fantastic job, and the Audi Sport e.dams team is very good and managed to get the car perfect again.
There's always such a narrow margin on these street circuits. Are you going to be pushing today for a podium finish?
Yeah, of course. This track is much faster than the last race, than Punta. There's much more longer straights, it's much wider. So I think overtaking here is more possible. I think we're going to have a good race.
Excellent. Enjoy the race.
So our championship leader, Lucas Di Grassi, will start from 5th on the grid. And it'll be very, very interesting to see how well he can progress, because he's finished on the podium in every single race so far. And he'll be trying to make progress. He did have an accident in qualifying at turn 6. We'll be bringing you the highlights of qualifying in 5 minutes or so. But first of all, let's hear from Marco Andretti. He's a debutant this weekend in FIA Formula E for the Andretti team. He's starting in 14th place.
So Marco, you having fun?
Yeah, I'm just admiring your purse here. It's nice.
Thank you. TK bought me it for Christmas. Come on, what's different about this thing to the IndyCar? What's the biggest thing you got to learn?
Well, I mean, straight away, obviously, is the sound. So knowing when to upshift, you have to really focus on the lights more so than hearing the engine. But for me, it's the braking and not having, the total load and downforce on the car. It's definitely it's been, a little trying for me. But hopefully, we can learn in the race, and hopefully, there's some attrition involved as well.
Speaking about hearing things, you got your dad in your ear today. Because it's your dad, do you not do what he says automatically, or are you actually going to listen? What do you think?
He knows to just tell me the opposite that he wants me to do.
That's what I'd do. Have a great day.
All right, thanks, man.
Great to hear from Marco Andretti there on the grid, talking to Dario. And it is great to have Marco here in the championship, son of Michael Andretti, who is running that Andretti team. And as I say, they'll be starting down on 14th on the grid. His teammate will be starting in 6th place. On 8th on the grid will be Antonio Felix da Costa, the best qualifying performance for Amna Naguri so far this season. We can hear from him now.
Antonio Felix da Costa, this is your best starting position so far during the season. Has something changed? Are you feeling like you're becoming one with the car now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling much better with the car now, and especially after the test day in Uruguay after the race. Last time out, we did some good changes to the car, some improvements, and we're really much closer to the faster guys now. I knew from the beginning, and having missed the first race, that we're going to be playing a little bit of catch-up since I joined the series. And yeah, we've been doing a good job. We're much closer now. We qualified 8th, but only half a second from pole position. And I'm really confident on the racecraft we have, so let's see what we can do.
And what do you think of this track?
The track is mega, I have to say. Probably one of the best so far. Maybe Malaysia is toe-to-toe with it. But I'm really happy with the track. It's a bit more like a real racetrack, So it gives the drivers a bit more of the feeling to push the car to the limit. So I'm really, really looking forward. I think the race will be mega.
Now, you didn't manage to finish the last race, so you're going to be taking it slightly easier off the start?
No, I mean... Last race, it wasn't a question of taking it easy or not. I mean, we just lost the wheel after a couple of laps, so I'll be aggressive, but at the same time, we need the points as a team, as a driver. So be aggressive, but use my head at the same time.
Good luck, thank you.
That's always the aim of racing drivers, isn't it? But whether it pans out like that is another thing. But it was extremely close in qualifying. The top 10 were covered by just 0.7 seconds at the end of the qualifying session. It really was incredibly close, and as Antonio Felix da Costa says there, he's 8th quickest, only half a second off Sebastian Buemi on pole position. There's the place to be this afternoon. It's very, very warm here, and a bit of pool time wouldn't go amiss, but we've also got a very big crowd here, the Porteños, which is the name of the people from Buenos Aires, the people of the port as they're known. They've turned out in their thousands to watch the racing this afternoon. It's fantastically busy. And as I said earlier, it's the first time in 17 years since the 1998 Formula One Grand Prix that Argentina has hosted top-line single-seater action. That race was won by Michael Schumacher. Jarno Trulli was actually in that race as well. He finished 11th in his Prost car, and there he is, starting at the back of the grid today after an accident in qualifying. We'll catch up with all the action in qualifying in a few moments' time, but first of all, we're going to have a little look at what it takes to be quick around a street circuit. The FIA Formula E Championship sticks entirely to street circuits throughout the season. We started off in Beijing, we then moved to Putrajaya, and then just a couple of weeks ago we were around the streets of the Punta del Este circuit city in Uruguay. And now we're here in Argentina, and the drivers are really starting to get to grips with what makes you quick around a street circuit like this.
You have to make the street your home.
There's no room for error.
Street racing is all about control.
To win, you have to be street-wide.
In the street racing, the margin for mistakes is close to zero, basically.
We take it wall to wall to wall, you know, entry, mid, exit.
It's all about fighting with the margin to try to get it as small as possible.
The smoother driver is often better in the street, so I kind of like it.
One mistake doesn't forgive in street racing.
I sometimes fear to touch the wall and lose the race, you know.
If fear was inbuilt in us, we'd be slow.
It's something that just has to be put away.
It's extremely important to arrive being really humble, you know, towards this kind of circuit.
We have a lot of respect for circuits, but at the same time, we're pushing to the absolute limit of what the car is capable of doing at all times.
If you lack confidence in any way, then you find yourself having a big scare.
The knowledge of how to approach the race weekend in street cycling is quite different from other normal tracks.
You need to adapt a lot in the streets. It's not like the normal trajectory, it's not the normal driving style.
Knowledge of a certain track is null and void. Knowledge of how to be fast on street circuit is priceless.
Street racing is racing on the edge.
In the 3 races so far, a number of drivers have received penalties for 2 main reasons. First, for exiting the pit lane after their car changeover, but before their mandatory stop time has elapsed.
Drive-through penalty for car 7 for not respecting the pit stop time, and also a drive-through penalty, as we thought, for Nick Heidfeld. He went through the pits too quickly.
We did not go too quick in terms of speed in the pit lane. I was just too released too early. So we went under the time of 1 minute and 4 seconds, which you have to spend in the pit lane. And I think I was something like 4 seconds too quick, and that's why I got a drive-through penalty.
Drivers can also be penalised for overusing their battery. They can either exceed the usable energy allowance during the race or infringe the power limit of their battery at any point during the 30-plus laps.
Nico Prost has just been given a drive-through penalty for using too much power.
Exiting the pits too quickly and the overuse of energy and power are the areas that the FIA monitor extremely closely.
We are the police. The technical delegate are the police. When we are fully happy, we can do the report to the steward, which are the judge, and up to the steward to define what will be the penalty.
Stewards are the judges, and they're responsible for applying the penalties to the drivers.
With every point now vital, drivers and their teams will be looking to eliminate any frustrating pit stops or battery infringements.
Qualifying took place this morning, and the first man out in Group 1 was Sebastian Buemi. He came through the final chicane to set the quickest time of anyone, but not quite as quick as he went in the morning free practice session. Sam Bird was pushing hard as well. He ended the first session second quickest. In the second group, Michaela Cerruti spun, but didn't do too much damage to her Trulli car at turn 4, whilst Jaime Alguersuari was out on circuit to go quicker than his teammate, but fractionally slower than Sebastian Buemi, who remained at the top of the times. De Grassi was pushing hard of the two Virgin cars of Alguersuari and Bird. Nick Heidfeld was pushing really hard in the third group and somehow managed to qualify third, despite a difficult morning in free practice. That meant Sam Bird was not going to be starting in the top 3. Slowest in qualifying was Jarno Trulli after this accident in Group 4.
Yeah, really happy. Obviously, I was not sure I could keep the pole position because of those guys. You know, Jaime was very close, being less than 30 thousandths behind. So it's good. I mean, it's just a start. Now we've got to finish the race and score good points, but it's always good to start from pole position.
Nick Heidfeld will be starting third on the grid. Jaime Alguersuari alongside Buemi on the front row, but it's the first pole position of the season for Sebastian Buemi. We're getting ready for the 4th round of the FIA Formula E Championship live from Buenos Aires, Argentina. The crowd are packing out the grandstands, and it really is going to be quite a spectacle. 35 laps of action coming up, and before too long we'll be revealing who has won the fan boost vote that the fans can choose to give them an extra power. And it is Bruno Senna, Nick Heidfeld and Jean-Eric Verne who are the 3 men who have won the fan boost. And let's start off by hearing from Jean-Eric Verne. He's going to be starting in 6th place on the grid, and he's been speaking to Nicky.
Jean-Eric Verne, you must have made a pretty good first impression as you've just won the fan boost in your second Formula E race.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks to all my fans. Thank you very much. Hopefully it's going to be a big help for this weekend and I mean for this race. This morning qualifying didn't really go up to plan, but you know, 6 is not such a bad position to start. Everything can happen in this kind of race, and it's not too far to you know, to get on top of the podium. But hopefully it's going to be a good one.
You look pretty comfortable in the car in Punta del Este. What's different today?
Well, I think we had some more difficulties with the car. The car was good in Punta del Este, and here a little bit less. But qualifying should have been much better normally. But you know, locking up, you know, in 2 corners and couldn't finish the lap. So didn't really help to get a good lap time for starting up the front. But nevertheless, you know, it's good to have the race so soon after quali, so I can make this up.
And what about any idea when you might use your fan boost?
When I'm going to have to pass some people.
Well, hopefully you'll be doing a lot of that. All the best, thanks.
So the Frenchman has the fan boost, but events in France earlier this week at the Charlie Hebdo headquarters, the satirical newspaper, of course, shocked everyone around the world and all of us here at FIA Formula E. So we will be holding a minute's silence in commemoration of those incidents earlier this week. Jean Todt, Alain Prost at the front there, Jean-Paul Driot as well, for a minute's silence. Paris, of course, the home of the FIA, and great to see that minute of silence observed here. But attention now turns to the motor racing, which will be getting underway in just about 10 minutes' time. We'll be having the run-up to the grid and then the race beginning as the drivers make their way back towards the cars. Dario Franchitti has made it back from the grid, back here to the commentary box as we look over Buenos Aires. Dario, it's a beautiful day. But first of all, before you answer that question, we'll hear from the president of the FIA, Jean Todt, and he's with Alejandro Agag, and Nicky Shields caught up with them a few moments ago.
Well, Jean-Todt, it's been a few months that have passed since we had a little chat on the grid in Beijing, and how much it has progressed.
Well, you know, you should tell me because you have been following all the races. But no, I mean, joking apart, I think it's great. You know, it's a new championship vision, and you have to be very brave to believe in it. And I think it's demonstrating that it was the right way to go and the right vision.
So what do you think we can expect from the racing this afternoon?
You know, the good thing about racing is that you don't know what you can expect, but what I do expect a safe and strong race in front of the spectator in Buenos Aires, which is a great city, great venue and great country.
Absolutely. I mean, it really is. It's a place that's steeped in motorsport history. Fantastic place to be here in Buenos Aires.
Yes, we're really happy to be here. I think it's a historic moment for Formula E. And I was remembering yesterday Juan Manuel Fangio, who won races in Formula One in the 50s, changing car. And, you know, Formula E, we change cars. If he could do it, we can do it. So we're really happy to be here in Argentina. I think we're going to have a great race, great track, spectacular job. Thanks to the city also of Buenos Aires. And ready for the fourth one.
Exactly. I mean, now that we are in round 4, the competition is really beginning to heat up. So who's going to be on the podium today?
Well, we'll see. Like the President Todt said, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I think we're on for a really good race. Sebastian Buemi, who won the last race, is on pole position. But he has Jaime Alguersuari behind, Nick Heidfeld, Lucas is not far. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
Excellent. Thanks very much, both. Enjoy the race.
Thank you.
So good to have the FIA President Jean-Todt here. He was there in Beijing at the opening round of the season, and he's now here at round 4. But Dario Franchitti then, what's the mood like on the grid? How are things looking down there? Quite hot.
The temperature has definitely picked up since the first practice this morning, quite dramatically. There's a lot of tension down there, usual excitement. A lot of people worried about the battery temperatures and how that could possibly affect the race. So they're something that's in everybody's mind.
So we only have, well, less than 10 minutes now before the racing gets underway. Bruno Senna has his overalls on, about to put his helmet on before a quick little interview for his South American TV friends. But it has been a very busy weekend for the drivers already. They had an autograph session, and then there was a gala dinner as well, which everyone turned out for, which was attended by Jean-Todt, the FIA president. And it really is a spectacular location here, Buenos Aires. And the fans, the Porteños, are making their way in. This was the driver autograph session, where the fans could come and get their autographs. The fans could come and get their autographs, rather, from the drivers. And then this is the Emotion Club, where the VIPs are housed during the race weekends. So the grid is starting to be cleared. Pole position, Sebastian Buemi. Second on the grid, Jaime Alguersuari. Nick Heidfeld is in third place. And Heidfeld in third place with the fan boost that gives them a boost of 30 kilowatts for 5 seconds per car. That is going to be quite a strong position for Heidfeld to be in.
Absolutely. You know, because of the nature of the track as well today, you're going to see a little bit more power saving than we've seen in the past couple of races. If there is a safety car, that will negate that a little bit, but you're going to see a big disparity in speeds, and you're going to see it really guys using the fan boost to make some moves, I would say.
We can now hear from Alain Prost with Nicky.
Well, after the last race, Jean-Paul Driot said he was nearly in tears chatting to you after the race. Are we going to have the same again today?
We hope so. Obviously, we are good. I mean, third pole position. I mean, 2 for Nicolas and 1 for Sebastian. 1 win. So we know that we are okay. But competition is very hard and it's getting more close race after race. It's going to be very tough today. We know that these races are very special, and especially with the heat today, we can expect something maybe a bit strange at the end, you know, with the temperature, with batteries, and it's going to be very exciting again.
I'm sure it is. We'll have the tissues ready just in case. Good luck.
Jean-Paul Driot, after that race, saying it was one of his greatest achievements in his racing career, and that's a man who's run dams and won all sorts of racing series throughout the world. And so for him to say that was quite impressive.
It was. He's got a long, impressive history in the sport. And just thinking about Alain Prost for a second, the whole e.dams thing, he's not here as Nicola's dad, I would say. He's fully involved as a team principal. He spent, from the time Sebastian Buemi pulled up on the grid, he spent maybe 5 minutes going into all kinds of details with him about some strategy and stuff. So he's fully involved with both cars.
There is Jaime Alguersuari, who will be starting in second place on the grid. e.dams have a first place and a 7th place on the grid, and it is actually Nico Prost's worst qualifying performance of the season so far. So far this season he's had 2 first places in qualifying. Okay, the second one he got bumped down 10 positions, but then a 3rd place last time out in Uruguay as well. So 7th place, not particularly ideal. This is Sam Bird, a little bit further back on the grid. He will be starting in 4th place, directly behind his teammate Jaime Alguersuari, as we get closer and closer to this 35-lap Formula E race. Buenos Aires plays host to the 4th round of the championship. We've made the trip over the Rio de la Plata that you can just see in the background to this magnificent city. There on the right-hand side is the Obelisco de Buenos Aires, one of the most impressive landmarks built in 1936 to mark 400 years, since the foundation of the city. And this is one of the newest districts of the city, the Puerto Madero district, and it is the Puerto Madero street circuit. And it is going to play host to 35 laps of racing, where that man, Sebastian Buemi, will start on pole position, his first pole position of the season, and the first time he's out-qualified Nico Prost so far this year. Second on the grid, Jaime Alguersuari, his best performance of the season for the Virgin team, and he's going to be looking strong. He'll have the inside line on the run down to the first corner. Nick Heidfeld will start 3rd. He's got the fan boost. It's also his best qualifying performance of the season so far, and he's out-qualified his teammate Stefan Sarazan in every race so far this season. Sam Bird will start 4th on the grid. 5th will be our championship leader, Lucas de Grassi, for the Audi Sport app team. He crashed in qualifying, so 5th was the best that he could do. 6th on the grid, Jean-Eric Vergne. He was the pole man last time out in Uruguay, but for Andretti he is 6th here today. 7th on the grid, Nico Prost, his worst qualifying performance of the season so far, and he is followed on the grid in 8th place by Antonio Felix da Costa, who has put in the best qualifying performance for him and the best qualifying performance for Amlin. They really seem to have found something with that car, and that is the blue car you can see behind that Andretti car there of Jean-Eric Vergne. So it'll be Vergne starting in 6th place on the grid, but he is another man that has won the fan boost. There then is Antonio Felix da Costa, a really strong performance from the Portuguese racer to be only half a second off pole position. 9th on the grid, Nelson Piquet Jr. He was 2nd last time out in Uruguay, so a bit of a disappointment for the Brazilian. Completing the top 10, the Mahindra back there of Karun Chandok in the red and white car. The mechanics just leaving it now as they get ready to head off back to the pit lane. And then it's Stefan Sarazan on the left-hand side. There is Karun Chandok on the right there, just putting his gloves on. Stefan Sarazan on the left in the Venturi car. The car's just a little bit out of alignment where they're lined up on the grid. So it is actually the right-hand side that is further forward, because then we've got Daniel Abt in 12th position. Another difficult qualifying for the German Oriol Serbia here on the left-hand side. 13th place on the grid for him, and that is his worst qualifying performance of the season so far. Dragons seem to be struggling a little bit. Marco Andretti making his Formula E debut is there. 14th on the grid in the white and blue. Andretti Machine racing for his dad this weekend. 15th on the grid, Ho Pin Tung. He's qualified 15th in every single race that he has entered so far this season. 16th on the grid is Salvador Duran, the Mexican. And then we've got Michele Ceruti in 17th on the grid. 18th for Jerome D'Ambrosio, but he doesn't look like he's made the grid. So Bruno Senna in 19th place, and Jarno Trulli completing the 20 cars as they make their way down towards the grid.
At this point, you're trying to get any heat you can in those brakes, those carbon brakes. They require temperature to get to work at all. And these guys are trying to get any temperature they can in them, because otherwise they're going to go down to turn 1, press the brakes, nothing's going to happen, and then it's all going to stop very, very quickly, and you're going to lock all 4 tyres up. So get ready for some fireworks here in turn 1.
So the cars lining up, the left-hand side, pole position, That is Sebastian Buemi, the man who's second in the championship at the moment, but he won the last race in Uruguay. Alongside him on the front row in the silver and purple car is Jaime Alguersuari. Third on the grid is Nick Heidfeld, who is just to the right of this shot here, because we're on board with Sam Bird, who is in fourth place. The crowd are on their feet in the background as we get ready for the start of the fourth round of the championship. Nick Heidfeld there in third place in the black and red Venturi car on the left-hand side as we get ready for the lights to go out. Jaime Alguersuari starting second. Can he get the advantage going down the inside? The first corner is a hairpin left-hander. That's the view on board from Nelson Piquet's nose cam. We've got the green flag raised then from the back of the field. 35 laps of racing are going to get underway. We've got all the lights on. And we go green in Buenos Aires. It's a lot of wheel spin for Buemi, but he manages to keep it all together. Good start as well from Heidfeld on the run down towards the first corner. He might get past Alguersuari. It's a hairpin left-hander that they're coming up to. Heidfeld looks to the outside line, gets a little bit of a tap, but gets up into second place. Great move from Nick Heidfeld around the outside of the first corner. The leaves are all kicked up, but we're all safely through turn one. Now the right-hand kink at 2 before the long sweeping left-hander at turn 3. But a great start from Nick Heidfeld has seen him move up into second position. We're on board now with, and it's all going off down into turn 4. And look up the inside from Antonio Felix da Costa. Did he make it through there okay? He did just about. Side by side with Jean-Eric Verne. Verne up the inside of da Costa, holds on to that place. But we're all safely through the first couple of corners, Dario. But Heidfeld did a great job to get around the outside into second place.
Absolutely stunning move by Heidfeld there, but he was hanging on. It's so dirty on the outside. You're seeing the guys running double wide there, and some great racing in the early corners here.
So that's down into turn 7. Then we come into the chicane at 8 and 9, and this is the end of the lap then. And when the next lap will start, there's a little bit of a gap back from Jean-Eric Verne to the guys in front of him as they all stream across the line. And now up into the left-hander. This is the quick part of the circuit, 10, 11 and 12. Listen to this. Look at them, they've all got their back end stepping out, but it's Buemi leading the way. Heidfeld's in second place, Alguersuari's in third, it's fourth for Sam Bird. There's a little bit of a timing glitch, so some of the graphics aren't showing correctly, but it is definitely Sebastian Buemi who's in the lead of the race at the moment, 0.8 of a second clear of Nick Heidfeld. And Heidfeld now is in, oh, and that's a shame. Who's that? Michaela Cerruti, who's come into the pits, and it looks like she's picked up a bit of damage, possibly after contact with Bruno Senna, because the left rear of Senna's car seems to have taken a bit of a clout. So, end of lap 1, Buemi, Heidfeld, Alguersuari, Bird, de Grassi, the top 5. There's the order on the left-hand side of the screen. And Nick Heidfeld now is in second position. He's got the fan boost, which will give him an extra 30 brake horsepower if he wants to use it. He's looking in a strong position.
Heidfeld very strong, absolutely. Made a nice move there in that first lap.
And here's de Grassi going past Sam Bird. That's nice. A move for fourth place down at turn 7.
You know, they're not taking it very easy, are they? I thought they'd be kind of just taking it steady for the first couple of laps here once they got through turn 1, but not a bit of it.
So this is the end of the second lap of the race. There's only 1 minute and 9 seconds this lap, so it goes past very quickly. Heidfeld's deploying his fan boost up at the front of the race. Is he able to get past Sebastian Buemi as they come down towards turn 1? We'll have to wait and see. No, he's not quite close enough, but he deployed his fan boost. That's the one time he's going to be able to use it in this car. So now he's got to wait until he's in his second car before he gets to use it again.
Let's see if he can get close enough here up to turn 4 to make a move.
We saw him attack an e.dams car in Beijing and it all ended pretty horribly. We're on board with Nick Heidfeld now, down into turn 4.
Looks like he's running a bit more downforce than the car in front there. That will hinder him just a little bit in the straight line, but will help him in the braking zones.
That's an interesting decision because most of the time we've seen the cars, Alguersuari's all out of shape in third place. He could be under a lot of pressure from Lucas de Grassi pretty soon. Really struggled to get the car into the apex of the hairpin at turn 5, and that has allowed Lucas de Grassi to get right under the rear wing of the Virgin car in front. But Heidfeld's impressive here because he's sticking with Buemi, even though he was nowhere in free practice this morning. Pulled a blinder in qualifying, but does seem to have the race pace after 3 laps of racing.
Yeah, Heidfeld in the black Venturi car has done a very good job. He gets very, very close to the wall in the chicane there, which is a little worrying. I love this shot. It's just pitching the car sideways, and that is flat out. At the 150 kilowatts, they're flat through there. Great shot.
And that is superb. It looks as though Marco Andretti's under a bit of pressure from Salvador Duran behind him.
Lap 3.
And that was some team radio being told that he's on lap 3. And here comes Marco Andretti, about to be passed by Salvador Duran down into turn number 1. They've got the back marker, Michele Ceruti, up in front. That could get a bit close, and Bruno Senna could take advantage. He's going to try and go around the outside of 2, then flashing into the long left-hander at 3. Senna did manage to go around the outside then of Marco Andretti. Good move from Senna, but all of that means that the winner is Salvador Duran, up into 14th place.
Nice opportunistic pass there by Senna. I thought he was going to get both of them. Salvador was very aggressive, wasn't he?
Absolutely, and I think Jarno Trulli has just aggressively made his way past Ho Pin Tung, and he's now up into 17th place. There's Michele Ceruti just backing off and letting everyone else go through, which is good to see, because she is now a back marker, unfortunately, after that first lap contact. Across we go. We're already on lap 5. This is rapid, but still, it's Sebastian Buemi leading. 0.8 of a second clear of Nick Heidfeld up at the front. Alguersuari, De Grassi and Bird completing the top 5 as they come across the start line, down towards turn 1 once again. And we haven't seen too much drama in that first corner. This is where we're expecting to see mistakes and lockups, but so far everyone's been well behaved. Through they come, the left-hander.
I'm not even sure I saw a lockup.
No.
In practice this morning, everybody was smoking the tyres down there. I haven't even seen a lockup yet, but maybe they're figuring out, oh, we're hearing something from the fans.
Yeah, they're certainly enjoying it. That's one of the strange things about Formula E, isn't it? That you can hear the fans cheering and screaming and oohing and ahhing. It's really quite strange to hear, almost. And look how close De Grassi is to Jaime Alguersuari.
I think that Buemi is just managing the gap here. I've got a suspicion he's that much in control. He's just managing that gap. But Heidfeld can't take advantage of it. He's just the type of driver that will wait for a small mistake and he'll take absolute advantage. Let's watch what happens here.
In they come through the chicane to complete the 5th lap of the race. 30 laps to go.
De Grassi has got to get up there onto the podium today again. If he wants to challenge for this championship, he's going to have to take the fight to Buemi, because Buemi's momentum has been building these last races with the win in Uruguay, and it's only getting better.
Absolutely. Less than half a second between the first and second place men, Buemi and Heidfeld. And they come into the hairpin at turn 1. You can hear them screeching. But let's have a little look back at the start of this race as it all starts to calm down on lap 6. So it looked to me as though Buemi got quite a big amount of wheel spin off the start. I mean, he got away with it though, but Heidfeld was the man to watch. Smooth as you like. And then around the outside of turn 1 was really impressive, Dario.
It just watched, I mean, the reaction time of all the drivers was very similar. And watch Nick, he's already lining the pass up, and he almost runs into the back of Buemi here because he has to carry so much speed. And the car's just sliding. He's on one long slide all the way through there on the inside for turn 2. And that was impressive. You don't realise how dirty it is on that part of the track.
And here's the look. And here's an attack for the lead. Nick Heidfeld trying to get past Sebastian Buemi. Not quite close enough on the run down into turn 7, but very, very close between the two of them. They bounce over the chicanes and come across the line to start the 7th lap of the race. And Alguersuari is still running there in 3rd place, but these guys are all nose to tail.
I'd love to see with the power left, the usable power left each driver's got, to see if Nick's using more to stay with him. As if by magic.
It's almost like someone's listening to you.
Very, very close. Look, 65 against 64, and Nick's used the fan boost, so you got to say Nick's in good shape right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to play the long game. It's not a long race, about 45 minutes to an hour, but they have got to be sensible about it. Nico Prost is up into 8th place now, after starting in 7th, so he's dropped a few places at the start, but now he's got back in clear air, and he's just at the fastest lap of anyone to close in on Antonio Felix da Costa in front of him. But Jaime Alguersuari is the man under real pressure from Lucas de Grassi behind, and here comes de Grassi up the inside, forces his way through at the hairpin at turn 5, and he moves up into 3rd position. I was just about to say,
it looks like he's going to set up, right?
And it's like the hairpin at Monaco, isn't it? The Lowe's hairpin. If you put yourself on the inside, your rival's got no choice but to let you through.
Yeah, cracking move. You can see him setting up.
Antonio Felix da Costa side by side with Jean-Eric Verne, and da Costa gets through. Does he on the run down to the chicane? Yes, he does. So da Costa up into 6th position.
The thing we're seeing here, it's the same as Uruguay. When you lose one place, you're losing multiple because it is so close.
So Sebastian Buemi still leads, 0.6 of a second clear of Nick Heidfeld. De Grassi's now up into 3rd position, and with some clear air, he's 2 seconds behind Nick Heidfeld in the battle for the lead of the race. But will he be able to close that in? Now he's got some clear air in front of him.
It might take him a couple of laps, but it's the sort of thing you've got to do bit by bit, not use too much of your usable power to make it happen. There's Senna there making a move on Salvador Duran.
Yeah. And here's a look at the replay then, and this was it from Degrassi. He wasn't even that close, but just did it under braking.
Textbook. Once he got to there, he could kind of use him up, push him wide a bit, and you saw absolutely great pass.
And he's just gone 0.6 of a second quicker than our race leaders in Sector 1. This was an opportunistic move from, I don't know quite what happened there, but suddenly Jean-Eric Vergne was very wide on the way into the corner, and that allowed the door to be open for Da Costa.
I think Vergne was just kind of following line astern there. Da Costa thought, okay, you've backed off a little bit, I'll have some of that.
So the gap at the end of this lap is down to 0.9 of a second. Degrassi took 1.1 seconds out of the race leaders on that last lap alone, so he has obviously decided to push here. Now, these guys can run between 130 kilowatts and 150 kilowatts in terms of their power, and so Degrassi maybe has turned it up a bit to close in, and then we'll turn it down when he gets there. Who knows? Those are the things we just don't know, but we get to see the amount of usable power that they have used, and that can often give us a key to knowing how much power they're actually running. And Jean-Eric Vergne has just done the fastest first sector of anyone, obviously a little bit riled. There he is in the blue and white Andretti car, a little bit wound up, but look at Degrassi, he's right on the back of Heidfeld already.
He's made some cracking time up, and it's just, I think he's carrying so much momentum through the corners that it's just part of the trick of driving these Formula E cars quickly. And here he comes, he's doing exactly what he has to do here. He's got to take the fight to Buemi.
Out they come, down towards turn number 7. A little feint towards the inside line, but nothing too dramatic, just so Heidfeld knows he's there. And, I mean, how does that affect you? If you're Nick Heidfeld, you've got a 2-second margin. Next time you look in the mirrors, Degrassi's there.
I don't care how experienced you are, you're going to be thinking about it. The trick is to always look at exiting the corner, look in your mirrors. That way you've got that advantage, you're pulling away just a little bit. But you've got to be careful not to drive in your mirrors too much, but you've got to be thinking about defending that position too.
Lap 10 of 35 here in Buenos Aires, the Argentinian Eprix, and they're coming around turn number 1 on lap 10. Sebastian Buemi leading from pole position. We've still got pit stops to come as well, don't forget, and you can see the usable power remaining down there at the bottom of the screen. That's the percentage of their battery that they've still got left to use.
Degrassi's used about 3% more than Buemi. Is that going to catch him out later in the race? We'll soon find out.
Absolutely, and we haven't had a safety car yet either, and Lucas Degrassi, as we saw there, set the fastest lap of the race on that charge that he closed in a second, just over a second in on Nick Heidfeld up in front of him.
They need to be careful because the statistics will show you that there has been a safety car in every race, so they're going to say, oh, there's a good chance of having one, and the drivers might take it as given there's going to be one and do their strategy that way. If there's not, there's going to be a lot of people trying to make some energy out of fresh air come the end of this here race.
We're on to lap 11 of this 35-lap race. I could watch this camera angle all day.
Brilliant. Look at the accuracy of the drivers, inch perfect there.
Absolutely. Across the line they come, and down towards the first corner, which is actually the 4th corner on the track because of the layout of this Buenos Aires Eprix circuit. And wow, that's Sam Bird swinging the back end out as he comes through that corner. He's in 5th place at the moment, tucked up behind his teammate Jaime Alguersuari, the 2 Virgin racers. But it's still Buemi leading the way, just managing that gap back to Nick Heidfeld. 0.6 of a second, the gap to 1st and 2nd. Degrassi has closed in rapidly, but he hasn't been able to make an attack on Nick Heidfeld just yet. The 2, in fact, Sam Bird looks to be quicker than Jaime Alguersuari at the moment. Those 2 Virgin cars are absolutely nose to tail coming down towards turn 7. But again, we've got brilliant battling throughout the order. We've only had 13 minutes of racing.
Look how close Nick Heidfeld gets to the wall every lap going into turn 8 there.
Yeah, absolute commitment, isn't it? It's superb to see the precision and commitment from these top-level single-seater racers. There's the exit of that 10, 11 and 12 sequence. And out onto what was the start straight, down towards the first corner again. And still line astern, no one just making a move, but quite often we've seen that they'll save up their energy, be a bit chilled in the first part of the race, and then when they know the sort of relative situation of everyone, then start to go for it in the final laps.
Absolutely, but they'll be giving the engineers the figures of usable power left as they cross the start-finish there. And the engineers will be then saying, you've got this much to use. Oh, here's App making a move on Karun Chandok here. Oh, they'll lock up, but is Karun going to try the switch back? Absolutely.
Nice stuff from Karun Chandok there. That's them battling over 10th place in the final points-paying position at the moment. But Sebastian Buemi in the yellow and blue e.dams car is still the man out in front. The black and red Venturi of Nick Heidfeld has closed right into the back of him again. He dropped back for a while, but now he is right back under the gearbox of the car in front, as we can see on board with Heidfeld.
Pretty exciting. You're coming down into turn 10, setting up through 10, straight into 11 and 12. Look at this whole combination. The exit of 11 is the apex of 12.
How many laps to the pit stop?
Jean-Eric Verne there.
It's Heidfeld.
Was it Heidfeld?
Oh, it was De Grassi apparently. It was Lucas De Grassi's team radio. We'll get there in the end, but that's De Grassi asking how many laps to the pit stop. I don't think he's received an answer yet, but we'll wait and see. So 29% of battery usable power level remaining for Nick Heidfeld, and he's using the full 150 by the looks of it, maybe a smidgen less, but he is really close to the back of Sebastian Buemi.
This is a point where maybe experience counts a little bit, and you've got to you want to keep pushing the guy, keep racing him, but you've got to get to the end of the race. You've got to have enough usable power to do it. You can lift and coast. You hear the rear tyres just breaking traction there. You've got to lift and coast a bit. It's going to cost you some lap time. You might lose a couple of spots here, but towards the end of the race, when it counts, it'll put you in the catbird seat, as they say. I think that's an Americanism.
into the chicane they come across the line and start the 14th lap of the race, and they're still absolutely nose to tail. Brilliant stuff here in Formula E. No real attacks going on just yet though. Lucas De Grassi, our championship leader, is third in the race at the moment. Buemi is second in the championship as it stands.
De Grassi's now 4% shy on usable power compared to Buemi.
Okay, so Buemi's obviously managing this very well because he's got the most amount of usable power of anyone in the top 8. So it really does look like he's just managing his gap, which is a very, very clever thing to do. And obviously the thing you really want to do. One man who's got quite a lot left is Nelson Piquet Jr. He's running in 9th place, but he's got something like, I think it was 36% of usable power remaining. Here comes Lucas De Grassi up the inside of Heidfeld, forces his way through and up in the second position.
Great opportunistic move again, the same move as he did before. The question is, can he do it to Buemi? I think Buemi might be a little harder nut to crack there and might not give way just as easily.
So down towards the left-hander they come at turn 7. Lucas De Grassi up into second place, forcing his apt car through, Dario.
Lovely, look, just alongside, doesn't even get all the way alongside, but the corner's his. Yep. Little wheel check there. He's put Nick Heidfeld offline. And
Heidfeld's in trouble. Alguersuari's attacking him, and it looks as though Alguersuari's got through. I think Nick Heidfeld went wide at the chicane, and now Sam Bird is going to attack as well. So Nick Heidfeld falling back through the order. Sam Bird gets alongside in the Virgin car. The next corner is a hairpin left-hander, so that'll be Bird through too. Whoa, big lock-up on the front right. Can he get it stopped? De Costa sees an opportunity, tries to force his way past Heidfeld. Isn't quite close enough.
Offside? No, not quite. Oh, not quite.
So that means that Alguersuari is up into 3rd place, Bird up into 4th, Heidfeld drops to 5th, De Costa in 6th place, but that all came from a mistake from Nick Heidfeld at the chicane.
I'd love to see a replay of that. Did Alguersuari pass him round the outside turn 10?
That would have been quite a manoeuvre.
Looked like, didn't it? But look, again, he's lost 2, almost 3 in the space of 1.
So this is where it started to go wrong on the back end.
Yeah, over the humps here. Here comes Jaime Alguersuari.
And then this was the replay of Sam Bird following through. But I think you're right. I think Alguersuari got around the outside. Meanwhile, Lucas De Grassi is pushing like nothing else because he has closed the gap to Buemi to 0.8 of a second. And on that last lap was 7 tenths quicker than our race leader, Sebastian Buemi. So De Grassi is on a charge here. Here are our 2 race leaders. There's now a big gap back to the 2 Virgin cars of Alguersuari and Bird because of their scraps with Nick Heidfeld.
7 tenths that last lap.
Oh, Chandok's off. Karun Chandok looks to be out of the race. I think that's turn...
Is that the end of the
exit
lap?
of the chicane. Yeah, I think that's the exit of the chicane. So that could be our first safety car potentially as well.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it? That's a big shunt.
It looks as though the rear wing is off. Karun getting out of the car, which is good to see.
Right rear wing.
Yeah, so let's see what happened. Here he comes. Oh, is he going to lose it all by himself? He's just going to... Oh,
broke.
Yeah.
It broke.
Yeah, the right rear suspension broke on him and off he goes. And
it's a
he was just a passenger.
Weakness with these cars. How many times do we see that in Punta del Este?
Yeah.
And there again, not a nice feeling when something breaks there. Thank God it wasn't turn 10.
Yeah, absolutely. But great to see that Karun is okay and climbing out of the car. There's Trevor Carlin, the man who is overseeing the Mahindra effort. Now we've got more battles, and this is Heidfeld getting back past Sam Bird as they come into the pits comes Jaime Alguersuari. They're still chucking the cars around as they come through the chicane. Surely they'll have to bring out the safety car. Maybe that's what Alguersuari's gambling on, and that's why he's come into the pits. Jean-Eric Verne has done, as well as Nico Prost, Salvador Duran and Marco Andretti.
Now
So we'll have to wait and see.
happens. Look at Buemi, 10%. He's got a little advantage there.
Into the pits come the cars then, and there's Jaime Alguersuari changing over to his second machine. But if the safety car is to come out now, Alguersuari is going to be in the box seat. Just to let you know, 70 seconds, 1 minute 10 seconds is the minimum pit stop time. We'll be able to tell you the minimum pit stop time when they come out of it, and if you are quicker than the safety car is deployed, this could be absolutely crucial
And
for
they're stuck
deciding the
behind
lead of the race.
Michele Ceruti. There's obviously, you can't pass, but you can go a little quicker maybe to catch up, and she's holding them up here. This is really tough for Buemi. This pit lane is it's got some interesting points to it.
And look, Buemi's furious.
Oh yeah.
Flat, waving his hands, but I mean, they are under safety car conditions now.
Yeah, but you could do the difference between sort of 60 or 70 or 80 miles an hour. It makes quite a big difference, and he's just giving time away, all that advantage. The pit lane is blind for the guys at the start of pit lane if they come round, so it's quite... you got to be careful, keep your eyes...
Oh, here they all come into the pits.
Did you see that?
Yeah, oh sorry, out of the pits they go, and it looks as though they have all made it so far with the right times. Yes, so Alguersuari did a 1 minute 12 in the pits, so did Verne and Prost, but Prost is actually in front of Jean-Eric Verne.
Yeah.
But where is Jaime Alguersuari? He's going to be the man to watch out for. In they come into the pits. Oh, very busy down there, isn't it? But Jaime Alguersuari is the man to find. Into the pits comes Buemi, the race leader. But equally, they're going behind the safety car now, so they'll be going at a slower pace. This is going to be difficult to call who's going to come out in the lead of this one.
I would be very surprised right now if Buemi ends up leading this race. When we're all said and done, I just think he lost too much time. Not anything of his doing. The strategy was maybe not the best, but the lap car really messed them up.
So there's the Qualcomm safety car leading the way. Jean-Eric Verne is at the head of the train at the moment, so Jean-Eric Verne is potentially leading the race. It depends how quickly they come around to pit exit, and presumably here they come. Out they come.
Yeah, he might be all right.
And it's Sebastian Buemi out onto the circuit, but is he now out in front of the safety car and still in the lead of the race? That's the question, isn't it?
I think he is.
So it looks as though he's further up the track than the safety car, but is he in front or behind of the safety car train? Am I making sense?
Yeah, I know what you're saying there.
So we'll have to wait and see. Here's Buemi, and according to the standings, Buemi is in the lead of this race, because those guys had to wait behind the safety car, so they were lapping slower because they were queued up behind the safety car.
Wonder what speed the safety car was doing.
And these guys can't exit the pits because the safety car is coming down, so the lights are red at the end of the pit lane. So that means that Nelson Piquet Jr. and Bruno Senna, I don't think they'll go a lap down.
No, but they'll be at the back of the pack.
Yeah, but they'll be at the back of the pack. So
that's harsh.
There you can see.
Those are the rules, but it's just...
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, next time they come around the timing lines, we should get a clearer idea. It's Marco Andretti at the front of this queue at the moment, not Jean-Eric Verne. Verne's a little bit further back in it. So Marco Andretti, at best, could be leading the race. At worst, is going to be in about 6th or 7th position. We just need to wait and see. At the moment, the timing screens are saying Buemi, De Grassi, et al. Are in the lead. And so it seems like that will be the case. Just need to wait for them to come across the line once more to sort of shake it all out, really, as Karun Chandok's car is hoisted away. Well, across the line comes Buemi, yes, so he's now just started his 19th lap of the race. The other guys are on their 18th lap. So Buemi still leads ahead of De Grassi and Heidfeld and De Costa are our top 3, but now they've got to somehow amalgamate the race leaders with the safety car train.
Good
which
luck.
is easier said than
Good luck with that, absolutely. Car 2's under investigation, Sam Bird. I wonder what that's about. Probably pit stop time or something?
His pit stop time appears to be 1:29, which was very slow. Here's a look at Chandok spinning again on the exit of the chicane. That's the way his race ended, unfortunately, after a difficult qualifying session and an even more difficult race. But that's his first retirement of the season so far.
That's an area they're going to have to fix, because when they go to the circuits of Long Beach and Miami, they'll be a bit rougher again. We can't be having these type of failures. It's happened multiple times now, so the manufacturer really needs to sort that out, I would say.
There you can see the time in pits. Buemi, De Grassi, Heidfeld, De Costa all comfortably over the 1:10 minimum time. So it looked for a moment as though that gamble to come into the pits might pay off for those drivers that are now currently queued up behind the safety car, but it didn't quite work out that way in the end, as Oriol Servia comes into the pit lane. And in other news, just quickly to finish off, Jerome D'Ambrosio did, sorry, that's Jerome D'Ambrosio coming into the pits. He did start from the pit lane, and so was in the race, but has come into the pits a little bit later than everyone else. So it'll be interesting to see where he filters out again.
This is obviously helping everybody to be able to run a little more power towards the end, less lift and coast and all that kind of stuff. The battery temperature thing still could rear its head, but it looked like the guys run flat out for the whole battery life, the whole usable power of the first car. So I think we're going to have a pretty straightforward race on our hands here.
So Marco Andretti has just been released by the safety car.
That'll get his little lap back.
And Marco Andretti is actually a lap down on these guys. So he was at the front of the queue, so he's a lap down. So actually,
he's now going to go to the tail end of the lap.
Exactly. So when I said at worst it'll be about 6th or 7th, I was entirely wrong.
I'm glad we're not doing strategy today.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I don't know why they have you on the pit wall in IndyCar. It was a bit...
Well, we've got engineers for that, to be honest, and the strategists, and I just, as I did when I was driving, I let them get on with it.
So the queue behind the safety car is a different one to the guys who are leading the race at the moment. And apologies if that all got a little bit confusing in the middle of the race there, but it was all a little bit confusing as to what exactly was going on, and the race directors have got some work to do to try and sort out the order of cars now. Sam Bird is under investigation, we believe, for potentially leaving the pits under the red light conditions. We saw a couple of the guys waiting to leave the pits, but apparently Sam Bird may have jumped before the lights went green, but we'll see what the stewards decide on that. We're on board with Sebastian Buemi then, who in theory is our race leader according to the timing screens and all that, but it's going to be a long way to filter all these guys through. Everyone else has got to surely pass the safety car, and then will we have to then wait for the pack to catch up with the safety car as well? But that would take too long.
No, it won't take long.
I guess it's only a minute lap.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it'll be fine. They'll do that in a lap or two under the safety car.
But they will have to. They will end up with a little bit less usable power, usable energy.
They will, but that's unfortunately the price you pay for being at the back of the pack there.
You deserve it.
Yeah, it happens.
So 16 laps to go here. Here's a look at Sam Bird. Now, is this him exiting the pit lane under a red light? Where is the light situation? There it is.
Yeah.
I think that might be a little bit of a done deal.
I think so. The light didn't look in the best position. If I was him, I'd definitely be arguing that. But as drivers, you tend to complain, don't you? Here's Andretti.
So we've got Andretti's, Marco Andretti's
I was
team
coming
radio.
in whether you called me or not. I was right committed.
So that was Marco Andretti having a bit of a discussion with his team.
Well, his dad, essentially.
Yeah. Saying they seem to have disagreed about the pit stop time, or when he came into the pits. But we believe he needs to... He did go past the safety car, didn't he?
He's now on the tail end of the lead lap, I think.
Yeah, so that's fine. And there we go. So Jaime Alguersuari goes past the safety car. But now they all need to do it. All sort of... yeah, so Alguersuari's gone through. So really, we need about 14 cars to go past the safety car.
Yeah. He's thinking, okay, do I go?
Yeah.
Obviously,
because all these guys, they're running at the front, so, but they're lapped cars, so they must be thinking, well, hang on, I was second, or you know, I was fifth. I'm not a lapped car. This can't be for me.
Yeah, it's something that in IndyCar happens quite a lot. You find yourself, if you're having an average day, you can't be on the tail end of the lead lap pretty quickly, and you get past the safety car, back on the lead lap, and at this point, if you have legitimately been a lap down, you're thinking, oh, you beauty, bonus.
Okay, so we need to go round and pick up the train of cars because they need cars. So you need to go round and pick up the train of cars.
This is clearly quite a new thing for a lot of these guys.
That's how.
What do you mean? I'm last or what?
Exactly.
Did you hear the surprise in his voice?
Yeah.
No, we're currently P6. We are P6.
So, okay.
Flaming yellow flag.
That's good to hear then that Alguersuari has been given the
Yeah, it's kind of
news.
contrary for the future. If there's something we can do, but I doubt it.
So the classification says we are currently P6. Yeah, no, there's nothing we can do on that. Because the leader is behind you. You are not pushed. Yellow, push a while. They don't have an idea who is actually the leader is behind you. They've almost waved around the whole field and there's two different options. Let me have a look.
No. So that is all the teams being told that the drivers have got to come through. Sebastian Buemi is now behind the safety car. They'll all leg it round, get up to the back of the pack in the next lap or two maybe. Then we'll be good to go.
Yeah, we'll be ready to go. We'll know where everybody is. But this is this catch-22 of how hard do you chase to catch. Obviously, if they're going to go green the next time by, then you have to chase pretty hard and use up usable power. If not, you take as long as possible, use as little power as possible. But these guys are all building brake temperature and tyre temperature too, which could be an advantage come the restart.
And how they'll need to manage how crucial usable energy actually is, because if we've had quite a long safety car period, it might be the case that they can go flat out now, you know, for the remaining 14 laps, because they haven't done a single lap on race pace at the moment. And you can see Buemi's got 90% of usable power still remaining, but you can see Alguersuari 85%, Prost, Bernat, they've all got sort of 88s. So there is going to be an advantage for Buemi and the like up at the front, but maybe not quite as dramatic as what we would have expected.
It'll all come out in the wash in those last laps, won't
Yeah,
it? But
exactly.
I think we're getting close to be able to run wide open.
So we've also, I think, got Marco Andretti out of position. Yes, we have. So Marco Andretti is still in the middle there. And he is still a lap down. But there's the race order on the left-hand side in case there's any confusion. And the Qualcomm safety car will be coming in then at the end of this lap. So, and that's all right actually, because Alguersuari is on the back of the train now. There's the guys coming through, and there's Alguersuari coming past as well. Nico Prost coming through. And then we've got Jean-Eric Verne, Daniel Abt, Oriol Servia will be next. Salvador Duran. It's quite a cool shot, that.
It's a great shot, isn't it?
De Grassi being told that the safety car will be in this lap, and then we will have 13 laps of racing remaining. As we get ready.
Now, how early is Buemi going to go here?
That's going to be the question, and because the safety car will start to pull off.
Yeah, here goes the safety car. The BMW's taken off.
And the crowd are getting excited as the safety car gets ready to pull back in. We're only halfway around the circuit at the moment. But a bit of singing from the Porteños that have made their way here.
He can't go too early and run at the back of the pace car and get in trouble for that.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's gone and then sort of had to stop again a little bit. But here they come into turn 7 as they come into the left-hander now. The safety car comes into the pits and we get racing back underway here in Buenos Aires. And no one was particularly close to each other. The one man who's causing a bit of a problem is Marco Andretti and Jerome D'Ambrosio. They're nose to tail in the middle of the pack, and they have caused a big gap back to the chasing cars. Across the line comes Buemi. Don't forget Nick Heidfeld in 3rd place has another fan boost to use, which is another extra 50 kilowatts of power as they get on the brakes into turn 1. It's Buemi, De Grassi, Heidfeld, Da Costa and Bird, the top 5 in the queue. We've then got this gap back to where Andretti and D'Ambrosio were just getting out of the way of the chasing cars.
Or not, as the case mean they're not going to be popular.
D'Ambrosio was anyway, but Marco Andretti was still going out there. But now it's a straight battle for the lead between Lucas Di Grassi and Sebastian Buemi. We saw those two fighting like mad in Malaysia, and now they're nose to tail for the lead of the race here in Buenos Aires.
We're going to have to keep an eye on Lucas and Sebastian Buemi every lap through that turn 4-5 area, because if he gets a sniff of that move, he's going to try and pull the same move off. You can see he's trying to set it up. Buemi's just that little bit quicker through 4.
And how often on the radio are you told, this guy's coming up behind you, he's overtaken here, loads of... Oh, Buemi! Is he going to hit the walls? He's broken his front right! And he is out of the race!
Oh, no! Oh.
Lucas Di Grassi leads. You can hear the despair in Sebastian Buemi's voice. Now, did he go wide and break the wheel as a result of the contact on the curbs? We'll have to wait and see. But Di Grassi leads the race. It's second place for Nick Heidfeld. It's third now for... Antonio Felix da Costa. Meanwhile, the fan boost is being used by Jean-Eric Vergne as he tries to get past Nico Prost. Here he comes up the inside. Meanwhile, Marco Andretti's moving out of the way, and Verne's gone through, using the fan boost to get past Prost. Now his teammate Marco Andretti will surely get out of the way as quickly as possible. There he goes.
I think there might have been a little inter-team help there from Marco.
Yeah, potentially. And he now moves out of the way, Nico Prost.
Oh man, what a terrible shame for Buemi.
Yeah.
Did he catch the wall on the way into turn 8?
Yeah, that's possible.
Did you hear the disappointment in his voice?
Yeah, very sad to hear. Meanwhile, Sam Bird wants a podium finish. He's right up behind Antonio Felix da Costa. The top 4 all in a line, but Di Grassi now looks like he's got the pace to start to pull away. Into the chicane they come, across the line, and there's 11 laps remaining. There was walking in front of the camera, disconsolate Sebastian Buemi.
Watch for Sam Bird into turn 1 here.
Absolutely, right behind Antonio Felix da Costa. Here they come across the line, and surely Bird will look to the inside. Da Costa doesn't decide to defend. Big lockup from Lucas Di Grassi.
What a move, lovely.
I was surprised Da Costa didn't defend a bit harder there.
He thought about it, didn't he? Then I don't know what he thought after that, but he had a good look.
And here is 19.8 Oriol Servia. There's a little bit of team radio from Sam Bird, giving a readout of his dashboard. So we've got 11 laps to go. Lucas Di Grassi is flying. He's just at the fastest middle sector of anyone. Our Brazilian race leader for the app team. Big lockup from Nico Prost. Gets it stopped in time. He's running in 7th place. You can see the order there on the left-hand side of the screen. And it's Lucas Di Grassi leading the way, and Sam Bird is now up into 3rd place.
I'd love to see a replay of the Buemi incident to see if he did catch that wall.
And there you can see the time in pits. They all fine.
He's down to 64% there.
Yeah,
he's used quite a bit more.
Well, he was the first of those guys that made the catch-ups, and there is Nelson Piquet Jr. making his way past Salvador Duran into 10th place.
Duran just pointed it through, it looked like there.
Oh, really?
He just thought, okay, he's coming through that quickly.
Oh, Sam Bird has just been given a drive-through penalty. The man in 3rd place, Sam Bird, drive-through penalty for ignoring pit exit lights. We saw that earlier on. It was a pretty stonewall decision, I think, that one. And maybe that's why he didn't defend. Now here's Buemi.
Oh yeah, got the inside wall.
Yeah. Inside wall. So he breaks the. If we see it again in, well, you'll see it here.
Slow-mo. Yeah.
He catches the inside wall and then it breaks as he then goes off there.
Yeah, he's broken it when he hit the wall.
Yeah.
Done that before.
Yeah. That is Sebastian Buemi, his own mistake, and the app team delighted with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was maybe the right reaction, but.
But meanwhile, Lucas Di Grassi is 1.2 seconds clear of Nick Heidfeld. There you can see the decision for Sam Bird. A real shame, but you know, those are the sort of basic ones, aren't they? You know, you've got all this power, energy usage to deal with. If you get a penalty for that, that's unfortunate. Oh, Di Grassi's off as well. Lucas Di Grassi, race leader, out of the race as well. That means Nick Heidfeld moves into 1st place, and that's suspension problems for the Brazilian too. And well, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
The problem as Karun Chandok had. If I'm running the team right now, I'm telling my guys, stay off the curbs, stay away from the curbs. I don't care what corner, stay off the curbs, because otherwise you're going to have to run into this issue.
So Nick Heidfeld now leads the race, and the same men that were delighted a few moments ago are now disconsolate. Nick Heidfeld leads ahead of Sam Bird, who has a drive-through penalty. So that means Antonio Felix da Costa is going to be in 2nd place.
16.4.
And Bird is darting around the back of Nick Heidfeld, and they're saying box this lap to Sam Bird, so he'll be coming into the pits. He's pushing nevertheless, but he is going to have to serve his drive-through penalty, and as we just heard, the team saying box this lap. So that means Nick Heidfeld will be all on his own for the remaining 9 laps of the race, and there is a very frustrated Lucas de Grassi.
Da Costa P2.
Yeah, so, and P3, Jaime Alguersuari. Sam Bird copies that, and so we'll see him peel off now into the left-hander. And so Nick Heidfeld leads the race with 8 laps to go. Surely they'll have to get a safety car out potentially to move that apt car. And third place then is Alguersuari.
I think they got it behind the wall on turn 10. So we might be okay there.
There's also a drive-through penalty for Ho Pin Tung for going under the minimum time at the pit stop. But he has now served his drive-through penalty. So, quick Nick Heidfeld, the man who looked destined to win the opening race of the season, is now in the lead of this race. But we've seen enough leaders not to count our little German chickens just yet.
Absolutely.
Nelson Piquet Jr. side by side there with Oriol Servia. This is the battle over 7th place, and Piquet Jr. has just taken that 7th place away from the Catalan driver. Daniel Abt is a bit further up the road in 6th place.
Just to compound the problem for Sam, it's a long pit lane.
Yeah, that's true.
It's got half as many corners as the racetrack.
Yeah.
And that's really going to sting.
Here's a look at the replay then of de Grassi. It's there to the end of right rear.
Just snapped again.
Right rear.
How frustrating would that be?
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
Yeah,
and that is the championship leader, of course, who was retired from this race, and he is absolutely furious.
I speak driver, and I know what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly. So Heidfeld is in the lead of the race for Venturi. 2nd place is Antonio Felix da Costa for Amlin. 3rd place is Jaime Alguersuari. 4th is Jean-Eric Verne.
To finish the race. It's not like they're bouncing the thing off a wall, they're going over curbs as you normally would.
Yeah.
I mean, Buemi's thing is very different. He hit the wall, and that's what happens when you hit the wall.
Yeah, that's true actually. That is a difference, isn't it? No, that apt car is still there on the exit of turn 10. It's just getting towed out of the way now, I think. We're on board with Jean-Eric Verne in 4th place, chasing down Jaime Alguersuari. He's got 41% of his available energy remaining as he comes into the hairpin at turn 1.
Small lock up there from Alguersuari.
We're on lap 30 of 35. And Sam Bird has now set the fastest lap of the race.
I'll bet he has. There'll be steam coming out of his ears.
We're on board still with Verne, coming down towards turn 4. Not quite close enough to get past Alguersuari yet, but let's see how much sort of lift and coast he's doing.
Not much at the moment. A little bit into there, but just a little bit.
And the yellow flag still out for that incident at turn 10. And this is Bruno Senna all over the back of Salvador Duran. Duran's up into 9th place now, so it's looking like a good day so far for the Amlin Aguri team.
Yeah, he's not, he's struggling a little bit pace-wise, but he's got himself up there. He just pointed him through again. He just pointed Senna through there, but
okay. So he's got Senna right up behind him, and there you can see the recovery taking place down at turn 10. Amlin have only had 1 points finish so far this season, which was an 8th place for Da Costa in Putrajaya, but now it looks as though they're going to be picking up a podium finish with Antonio Felix da Costa running currently in 2nd place.
There's still 4 laps to go there, Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, somebody's locked up and gone off in one.
Yep, and there's still actually 3 seconds from these guys to Da Costa, and they're lapping about a second a lap quicker.
Verne is as close as I've seen him. This might be a move into 4. If not, he might set it up for 5.
Whoa, very, very wide from Alguersuari. He might have hit the wall there on the exit. He's got Jean-Eric Verne right up behind him, but he really seemed to run the track more than I've seen anyone else do.
All that dust showed you that.
Oh, look up the inside from Verne. Almost hits the back of Alguersuari. Just gets it stopped in time. And the battle of the ex-Toro Rosso drivers continue.
He tried the de Grassi move, but didn't quite pull it off there, did he?
And he needs to be careful because he's got Nico Prost right up behind him as well. Verne set the fastest first sector of anyone on that last lap.
I don't see any damage on the side of Alguersuari's car, so not sure that maybe he just got away with it. I bet his eyes were closed though.
Into the chicane they come. Lovely bit of opposite lock from Nelson Piquet Jr., who's now on the back of this queue as we go on board again with Verne through the green flag zone after the recovery of Lucas de Grassi's car.
not close enough.
And Verne has got a fan boost, and I don't think he's used his second fan boost. We think he might have used... Oh, yeah, he did actually. He attacked.
Has he damaged the nose? I think he's damaged the nose of the car.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of a dent in there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We'll try and keep an eye out for that.
That might have been the gearbox of the car in front.
Yeah.
He's really close again here.
Yeah, there's definitely damage to the nose cone of that Andretti, but he is right up with Alguersuari. The Spaniard knows it, defends, coming down, whoa! And, well, Verne's not happy with that. He's not happy. I think he thought Alguersuari was defending. He thought Alguersuari was defending and then moved across in front of him, I think, was the complaint from Verne.
We saw that with Trulli, didn't we? And I think it was Piquet.
Yeah.
And, yeah, not really on. But that was, yeah, that wasn't too blatant, I would say. But I'm not driving the car behind. It always looks different when you're in the gearbox of the car.
And he's going for it again. There's contact. Alguersuari nudged wide. That was a classic touring car move.
The door was closing at the last minute.
To be honest.
And that's Verne saying he closed the door at the last minute.
He did there. Yeah, I would say he's 100% right.
And a drive-through penalty for Nick Heidfeld. Speeding in the pit lane. Nick Heidfeld, the race leader, has been given a drive-through penalty now for speeding in the pit lane. And that is fundamentally going over the 50 kilometers an hour, not the too short pit lane time. And here's the attack from Alguersuari, side by side with Nico Prost up the inside. Actually, going for fourth place, so somewhere Prost would have followed through when he got set wide, and now Alguersuari's got back past him.
That was
Goodness me.
That was an attack, wasn't it? That was a dive bomb. Great move.
And Daniel Abt is now on the back of Nico Prost as they come down towards turn 7. Prost goes defensive, but Abt isn't quite close enough. So all that means that when Nick Heidfeld serves his drive-through penalty, Da Costa will lead for Amlin Aguri, Verne will be second, Alguersuari will be third at the moment. I just keep having to double-check everything I say because it's non-stop.
We didn't see that one coming, did we?
Goodness me.
That is, yeah, that's action-packed for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, 2 laps to go now. Heidfeld's on his penultimate lap. So, when's he going to serve his drive-through penalty? He hasn't done it just yet. The cars fly over the curbs. Piquet Jr. is on it.
He's coming in a hurry, isn't he? Into 1 here. Let's see them. If he carries that momentum through 10, 11, 12, get on his gearbox for 1. Let's see. Here he comes. Setting up. Is he close enough? Yeah, oh yeah, he's close enough. Abt's going to defend like crazy though.
Yeah, Nelson Piquet Jr. jinks back to the outside on the run down to turn 1. This will be a brave move from Piquet Jr. He fancies all the way around the outside, not quite.
Not sure that's the move I would have done there. I'd have stuck it down, the inside of it a bit more, but I'm sitting here talking about it and he's driving, so.
Nelson Piquet Jr. is just on the fastest first sector of anyone in the race so far. Still the fastest lap, I think, has gone to Sam Bird as the cars come into turn 4. Nick Heidfeld, meanwhile, will he be coming into the pits on this lap? Oh, and has Verne got an issue? Verne's gone very, very wide, and that allows Nico Prost to get alongside Alguersuari, coming down into 6th. Nothing changing.
Piquet's got an issue too.
Piquet has slowed down, hasn't he?
Yeah, off the back there.
So maybe they're all suddenly running low on usable energy remaining. Big lock-up from Abt, and he hits Alguersuari, and that allows Prost through. What a shame for Alguersuari, the second time he's been assaulted at turn 7. Meanwhile, Nick Heidfeld is in the pits to serve his drive-through penalty, which means going on to the last lap of the race. Antonio Felix da Costa leads for Amlin Aguri.
What is going on?
Oh, and Alf, that is Daniel Abt.
He broke the suspension, didn't he, in that move?
And the battle's still going on then. This is Verne, who is defending from Nico Prost in the battle over second place. Prost goes through, but Verne's going to hold it on the inside.
No,
he's never going to get that stopped. And Prost holds the second place. Alguersuari is going to come through and move up into 3rd place. That means that Verne drops back to 4th. Nelson Piquet Jr. is in 5th.
Verne too low on power? He's 9% of usable left. Is there another issue?
It's difficult to see, isn't it, as he comes through the left-hander of turn 3.
Look at Alguersuari's car crabbing. There's massive damage.
Antonio Felix da Costa, here he is, coming through turn number 6. The Portuguese racer is going to take victory, surely. He's only got 3 more corners to go. There's the Amlin Aguri squad as they come into turn 7 for the final time. He's slowing down, but I think he's just taking it easy as he comes towards the final corner now. It's victory for Antonio Felix da Costa. The checker flag falls, and it's a win for Amlin Aguri. 2nd place for Nico Prost. It's 3rd place across the line for Nelson Piquet Jr.
Yeah,
and there's Alguersuari.
What happened to Alguersuari? Look at the...
Work hard, Well done, boys. Well done.
Alguersuari's car was damaged on that last lap there, on the left rear, it looked like.
So the checker flag falls. Antonio Felix da Costa takes victory. Prost second, third for Piquet Jr. Alguersuari fourth, Bruno Senna fifth, Daniel Abt. Can't believe what's happened.
That was the top three I was going to call, Jack.
So, Amlin Aguri, I don't know how they've done this. They were absolutely nowhere. They had a revelation testing in Punta del Este, and now they've won a race. Okay, a lot of people retired. It was a bit of a race of attrition, but Da Costa was there. He had pace, and he's taken victory.
Very good.
On est assez bien sortis. Merci les gars. Super, bravo, vraiment génial.
Very happy, Nico Prost.
La deuxième voiture, elle consomme rien par rapport à la première. C'est incroyable la différence.
Incredible difference from the first practice session to now is, I think, what Nico Prost said. But there's a Swiss who will be speaking very different words of French.
Yeah, two very upset guys there with him and Lucas.
Didn't know what was going on because I had cars around me. I didn't know if I had to push and try to pass them. I know they were different laps, but it doesn't make no sense that I'm third. But anyway, I was a bit blind in the race without knowing what was going on.
You were blind, Nelson. Try being in here. Piquet Jr. saying no idea what really happened in that race, but they're delighted nevertheless in the Team China garage with their second podium in succession.
I think that was a subtle dig there at the engineers from Nelson, just saying, God, I need more
so
information.
Here's Daniel Abt. He attacked Nico Prost, but was too busy worrying about Prost essentially and making the move on him.
Oh, wasn't even close, was he?
No.
That damaged Alguersuari's car, which then caused the issue for Alguersuari on the last lap.
There we go.
Yeah, that's where the left rear damage came. It was crabbing pretty badly.
And this is Jean-Eric Verne losing out to Bruno Senna. So Senna got past Verne on the final lap. Oh, and then they had a bit of argy-bargy, and Senna just about held on to fifth place. So I wonder what happened to Jean-Eric Verne at the end there. But
touch of bumper cars there, wasn't it, from Jev?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the fans will be leaving the circuit entertained, if not exhausted from that. I'm a little bit exhausted. I hope we were able to keep you up to date with everything that was going on. It was quite a challenge, but it's great to see so many people here as well who've come to watch the action.
Yeah, and they got action, didn't they? That was an absolute barn burner of a race. It was going on everywhere.
A what?
Barn burner. Is that an Americanism too?
I've never heard that. Barnstormer, we say. But anyway, Antonio Felix da Costa pulls back into the pits.
Who's we? Brilliant job from the Amlin guys. Anthony Felix da Costa, fantastic. Well done.
So, congratulations from these other guys. And
I bet none of them expected to see any of the others two up there.
Absolutely. So da Costa on the top step once again, but this time for the first time in FIA Formula E. An excellent drive. He did well to qualified in 8th position, the best qualifying performance from the Amlin Aguri squad. And now they've got by far their best results of the season. And delight there with the Amlin Aguri mechanics. And they'll be shepherded towards Nicky Shields.
And no issues with battery temps. Unless that's what was going on with Jean-Eric Verne's car.
Okay, yeah, potentially.
We'll find out, but...
There's Mark Preston.
Jerry Hughes there, the engineer of the car. No, Jerry's never happy. Typical engineer.
Where do I have to go is the question, and where do I go from here is the question for Daniel Abt.
Yeah.
And that'll be so frustrating because he didn't even, he didn't want to get involved in the fight with Alguersuari. That wasn't his target, His target was Prost. He got Prost done, but in the process took out Alguersuari.
You get slightly unsighted, and the red mist was definitely down with all those guys. There was, they're just crazy cars everywhere, slightly unsighted, and you see what happens. And it's once you've committed to that move, you're probably thinking in the car, no, but there's nothing you can do. Too late.
So Antonio Felix da Costa, our race winner here in Buenos Aires at the end of an incredible Argentinian Eprix, finishing 5.5 seconds clear of Nico Prost and taking victory for the Amlin Aguri team. Wonderful drive from the Portuguese driver, and we can hear from him now. He has taken off his helmet and he's chatting to our pit lane reporter, Nicky Shields.
Antonio Felix da Costa, long time coming, but how do you feel after your first win at Formula E?
Yeah, really happy. I mean, I knew we had the pace this weekend. I was a bit conservative in my qualifying lap, but starting the race today, I felt really good. It was a bit confusing with the safety car and all where we were, but we just kept cool, and I still finished the race with some energy left in the car, so I was ready to attack Nick at the end if I had to. But yeah, great job from the team. Really happy. We worked hard to get here, and now we just have to keep working hard to maintain our pace.
Thanks very much. Well done.
Antonio Felix da Costa, race winner. Nelson Piquet Jr. there, finishing in third place. He doesn't look very happy, does he? And I think he's coming out with the same complaints, perhaps of, I didn't really know what was going on in the race, but to be fair, it's a difficult one to call for the engineers. But let's now hear from our second place driver, Nico Prost. He's with Nicky.
Nico Prost, happy with P2?
Yes, obviously happy. You know, hard race, really tough race, a lot of fighting. But for once, it seems like things turned my way a little bit, because starting from P7 was not so good. But yeah, it was a good race, good points, and now let's go to Miami.
There was a lot going on out there. You did well to stay the way out of a few of the crashes.
Yeah, I mean, you have to stay out of trouble, but you have to be aggressive. I had a good fight with Jean-Éric, and then a hot moment, all four together at turn 10 or whatever. But yeah, it worked out for me, so it's good.
Well, keep smiling. Thanks very much.
There's Nelson lurking.
Nelson Piquet, here we are again, P3.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is the biggest surprise ever. I finished the race, and I had no idea I was in the lead lap, because it was the whole confusion of the safety car, and we didn't come in, we stayed out, and we lost the lap, basically, and it was a miscommunication between us and the team, and they never told us I was in the lead lap. So I saw everybody fighting in the front. I said, I'm not going to get in the middle, because if I do something silly, try to pass them, they're going to blame me. I was a lap behind. So I let them fight there, and I just stood back, and I crossed the line, and I was like, sorry, guys, that's all we could do. They said, yeah, good job, finished P3. I said, what? So yeah, I think we need to, we had a great car, it was a great pace, but we need to work a little bit on our communication skills, which Chinese and the Brazilians are a bit, don't mesh very well.
Sitting back and being patient obviously paid off. Well done.
Well, that's not an easy way to run a race, is it?
That's difficult, and you have to understand with the driver, they're full of adrenaline. They've had a hard fought battle, and so they're really, they're tense, and these the things that you see at this point, you might look back in 20 minutes, half an hour, or a day later and say, oh, it was maybe a bit, over the top on that. But there's a man that had a hard day, Sam Bird.
Yeah, 7th place, still manages to pick up some points, but it's going to be very interesting to see what that has done to the championship standings. And Antonio Felix da Costa, the race winner here, and there is a shaking head, Sam Bird. So here's a look at the results from the 4th round of the championship. A frantic race. Antonio Felix da Costa taking victory, 5.3 seconds clear of Nico Prost. Nelson Piquet Jr. completing the podium. That's 2 podiums in a row for the Brazilian. Jaime Alguersuari finishing 4th. Verne there down in 6th after looking like he was set for a podium. Heidfeld led the race, looked destined to win until a drive-through penalty saw him finish down in 9th place. Marco Andretti on his debut finishing in 13th position. Daniel Abt in 14th, not classified, and then look at those big names. Our top 2 in the championship, De Grassi and Buemi not finishing the race. Sam Bird finishing down in 7th place. That is going to tighten the championship right up very nicely indeed. And this is what it does to the championship standings. Bird is still up into 2nd place now, 10 points behind Lucas de Grassi. Sebastian Buemi is there, but Nico Prost is right behind his teammate now, just a point behind. Nelson Piquet Jr. has joined that party as well. So that means that we've got, 21 points separating the top 5 drivers in the championship. Salvador Duran up into 16th with his first points of his Formula E career. Jean-Éric Vergne, despite running at the front in 2 races, is in 15th place. And as far as the team's championship is concerned, e.dams have extended their lead at the top of the standings, 11 points ahead of Virgin Racing, who are in turn 12 points ahead of Audi Sport Abt. Not a good day for the Abt guys, with both of their cars retiring. Team China and Dragon joint on 37 points in 5th position, and then Amlin Aguri with their first points of the season are off the foot of the table and up to 8th position. So we've now got a pretty big break before the next round of the championship. It's going to be the 14th of March in Miami for the Miami Eprix. The track looks great. It's around the American Airlines Stadium, and it's going to be great. But that big sort of 2-month break is also a chance for Formula E to, you know, sort of work on some issues like we've seen with the suspension predominantly.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if the cars show up in Miami with the same specification of the part that's breaking on the. It looks like it's the push rods or something that's causing the issue, and that'll be fixed. The teams are going to go and spend a load of time simulations and understanding the cars better. They're going to have some new ideas of setups that they might try and put in the practices there, and it's going to, again, the people are going to get closer and closer to that ultimate performance, and if the racing's as good as it was here, I'll be quite happy.
Absolutely. And there is the podium getting ready, and it'll be the first podium in Formula E somehow for Nico Prost coming into this race. He'd led the most laps of any driver, but this is his first podium in not fortuitous circumstances, but fortuitous circumstances.
You've got to be there at the end, don't you? You have to be there, and it's been great to see the enthusiasm of the Argentinian crowd, and just that from the moment we arrived at the airport, you could see they were properly into this race, and that is wonderful to see, and that's followed around Formula E around the world so far.
So there are the drivers getting ready to head out onto the podium after a entertaining Formula E race. There's no denying that. I don't think I've seen a single-seater race quite like it, to be honest. Maybe at the Formula Ford Festival or something like that, but that's about it. But out onto the top step of the podium comes race winner in Buenos Aires, Antonio Felix da Costa, onto the top step for Amlin Aguri. Second place will be Nico Prost, the man who took pole position for the opening round of the season in China, Beijing, but finally he sees it through to the end and is on the podium with a second place finish. And in third place for the second race in a row on the podium, Nelson Piquet Jr. And he's got his ski goggles, but the top step of the podium, the Portuguese driver, Antonio Felix da Costa. And there's Mark Preston from the Amlin Aguri team coming out onto the podium as well. But for the winning driver, Antonio Felix da Costa, it'll be the Portuguese national anthem here in Buenos Aires. First of all, he's going to get his trophy as he holds it aloft. Da Costa wins in Argentina. Superb performance, as we have come to expect from the former Red Bull young driver.
He's a proper driver, isn't he?
Yeah, really good. And one of those young Red Bull guys to which Formula One wasn't necessarily an option. May still be in the future, I suppose, but it's a bit of a long shot now. And there is the winning trophy for Mark Preston.
There's a happy man right there.
Taking victory in the FIA Formula E race for Amlin Aguri. How they've turned it round. You know, it was you had to be there, but you also had to have the pace to win this race. It doesn't matter, you know, what you do, you've got to have the pace to take victory. And Amlin Aguri have done a wonderful job to take victory. Nico Prost will receive his second place trophy now. And I think he'll be relieved to finally sort of properly get off the mark and be right up with the sort of championship challengers.
Yeah, as you say, the championship has tightened up now, and Prost is starting to be a contender there. The fight is on, and especially when you take into account dropped scores. That's something that's going to start becoming more and more of an interest as the season goes on.
We saw Valeria Mazza handing the second place trophy. There is David Nalbandian, the tennis player, former world number 3, Wimbledon semi-finalist in 2002, handing the trophy to Nelson Piquet Jr. And now we will have the Portuguese national anthem. victory in Argentina for Antonio Felix da Costa. He takes victory here. So a wonderful performance for the Amlin Aguri team, taking their first victory in Formula E. 4 races, 4 different winners, and 4 different victories for teams as well. It's the champagne on the podium. Mark Preston gets the soaking, and he is loving it. Never tasted victory as Super Aguri in Formula 1, but they have victory here now as Amlin Aguri in Formula E. A wonderful performance for Antonio Felix da Costa, who once again shows why he is one of the top young talents. Nelson Piquet Jr. has his ski goggles on again, which does a good job actually of protecting him from the spray. It's not too a foolish idea, but that's the man of the moment. Victory for Antonio Felix da Costa.
Bring on Miami.
Absolutely. It may be a bit of a way away, as I say, 15th of March, a couple of months to get ready for the next instalment. But there is Piquet Jr. giving the champagne to his mechanics, and there is Antonio Felix da Costa, very happy with his victory. There's no doubt about that. And a really strong performance from the Portuguese racer. And he had to work hard for it, and he made some overtakes, you know, right from the early stages, didn't he?
Yeah, nothing is ever gifted to you. And in races like this, you get a little bit of luck going your way. There's other races, and there'll be more of those, that you'll be on the receiving end of the bad luck, so take it while you can, you know. And Nico Prost looks very happy there too.
So, great performance from da Costa. And it is the Portuguese driver that takes victory, his first victory in single-seaters since winning in Formula Renault 3.5 back in 2013. Nico Prost finishing in second place, 5.3 seconds behind da Costa at the line. Nelson Piquet Jr. in third, Jaime Alguersuari fourth, Senna in fifth place. And you go through the results and you're suddenly surprised by everyone popping up everywhere, but Bruno Senna finishing in 5th position. Sarrazin just out of the points in 11th place. Marco Andretti finishing his first ever FIA Formula E race. Abt and D'Ambrosio not making it, well, Abt didn't make it to the line. I think D'Ambrosio was 2 laps down because he had troubles with his Dragon car all day. Karun, Chandok, Cerruti, Buemi, Di Grassi and Trulli all retiring from the race. And this is what it's done to the championship. There's now 10 points between Lucas Di Grassi at the top of the standings and Sam Bird in second place. Then it's 5 points back to Sebastian Buemi in third. But all this has brought Nico Prost into the game. It's brought Nelson Piquet Jr. into the game as well. 21 points separate the top 5 drivers. That's less than the amount of points you get for winning a race. So with 5 rounds still to go, there's still all to play for. Bruno Senna there in 11th place with 18 points. Oriol Servia, another point scoring finish for him today, picked up 1 point, and so he's up to 15 points in the standings. And Takuma Sato there completing the top 20. And there's the view over Buenos Aires, the Puerto Madero district beneath us. Then beyond that sort of river is the centre of the city, where you have the likes of the Casa Rosada, the Pink House, which is the President's office, most well known for all the appearances from Eva Perón at the top of that, talking to all the masses assembled below in the Plaza de Mayo. It really is a city with incredible history, an incredible heritage, and now an incredible racetrack. So you can see the river there on the left-hand side. That's the lake, sorry, the other side that's in between the track and the sea. And there's Mark Preston posing for photographs. And so, da Costa wins here, Prost in second, but Di Grassi is top of the championship still as we head towards our next race in Miami. Join us on the 15th of March around the streets of one of the most iconic cities in the United States of America. We hope you've enjoyed today's bonkers Formula E race. We'll see you in the USA in a couple of months' time.